Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of active listening in family business. I wanted to ask you, Jonathan, how do you see this topic and what have you seen with your clients?
Every day, 1,000 times a day, everywhere. Communication, getting ideas between people is the only way you can make something build up in the world. The problem is if we don't active listen, there's a high chance that at least part of what we heard is what we thought we heard and not what the other person was trying to communicate.
That's an interesting point because I think what I hear you saying is it's almost like where the communication most often fails is not necessarily around what somebody said, it's what somebody thinks they heard.
Absolutely. It's those gaps. So there's some things that we can do that help us be good, active listeners. And I think one of the least obvious things is that before you get yourself in a situation where you are planning a communication with somebody else, be aware of where you are. Like if you've got a splinter in your thumb and all you can think about is how much your thumb hurts, you're not going to hear very well. Take care of the splinter. And as I say that, what I'm really talking about is all the stuff that's going on that's our stuff.
Yeah.
If you had a nasty conversation, breathe deep through that before you try and start this conversation. All of those things are sort of preparing the ground.
Yeah, it's like a lot of times when I'm having conversations with clients about this, so we talk about internal and external factors.
Yes.
And so as Jonathan and I are now talking, we have an airplane flying over us. That's an external factor that can sometimes impact, people's focus on the conversation. It can be a
Right.
distraction. But there's also this thing that you talk about of how you show up and those internal factors.
Yes.
Am I coming into this
Yes.
angry? Did I get a good night's sleep? Am I not feeling good?
Yeah.
Other things that can diminish our ability.
And Donnell, to be clear, we don't make those things go away. We often can't make that all go away. It's about being aware of it and sort of pulling that to the side and creating a clear channel as best as possible for this communication.
Yeah, that's spot on. I think that's fascinating. And, the other thing I like to think about is that words are symbols. And so,
Okay.
so it's like when we're thinking about communication, well, we heard what they said. Why doesn't everybody understand what they meant?
Because not everybody means the same thing with the same words.
Exactly. And like the classic example around that is for anyone who has ever ordered a steak or a hamburger or something at a restaurant, what is medium rare or medium at one place may be completely different at another. And it's because we have an idea when we say I want my steak cooked medium, that is our understanding of what that looks like, and it may not be the same with the people there. And that kind of thing can play out in family dialogue quite a bit. When you talk about what does it mean to respect someone, what does it mean to trust somebody, we don't all see those words as being defined exactly the same way.
Sure. We all have our own experience around words and,
Yes.
and meanings. So, active listening, it could be as is widely thought of when you hear those words. When someone is speaking to us, they might allow us or we might ask for an opportunity to do something like, let me make sure that I'm hearing what you said. This is what I'm hearing. And you could say it in exactly the words that they said. And if you do that, even though those words just came out of their mouth, they may hear it coming out of your mouth and say, but what I really meant was to add that. So you get refinements, or you put it in your own words and then you see what the reaction is. They might say, well, I really meant, and then underscore, their key point. And they're both valid, the wonderful one, the other, both, or other things. All kinds of checking in. What we're doing here is we're not assuming that we know.
Yeah.
And we're confirming. And by the way, I think in telephony, phone communications, there's electronics that do that. Did the message get through as it was sent?
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, and there's typically we think of four different ways that active listening happens. And the first part of it is what we call attending. And that's, when you're with somebody, you're paying attention to them, you're not on your phone, you're not looking out the window, you're communicating non-verbally to them that you're paying attention.
Yeah.
At the same time with attending, you're also making sure that you're watching subtle cues that they may be giving. Someone may be speaking very calmly in a meeting, but then you look and on their neck, they're like turning beet red. And that would be an indication that maybe what's coming out of their mouth is not congruent with how their body's showing up.
Yeah.
And that's information.
Yes.
And so that can lead to the next thing, which is inquiry, where you're asking questions. So the questions part of this can be, I notice that, when you're talking about this, that I also see, signs in the way that you are physically that look like this is hard for you. Is there something going on? That could be inquiry like that, or it can just be expressing curiosity and asking them to expand on the points they're making. Another one is paraphrasing. And Jonathan, you brought this up. It's like there's two lanes to this one. There's, restating what somebody said in terms of your own words and your own perception and asking them if you got it right. There's another where you are, parroting back what they said. And a lot of times that one works really well when the topic area that you're discussing, is either technical or precision is really important.
Right.
And you got to make sure you got it exactly right.
Yes.
And then the last part of this is that you make a practice of checking your perception of what was discussed in the conversation at the end. So you ensure that everyone is leaving with the same message and information so that nobody leaves that conversation, or you minimize the amount of assumptions that people need to make after they leave the conversation.
Yes. So that summary, we're walking out of here, we're together.
Yep.
Yeah. And all of this, it can seem a little awkward, like, the first day in the gym on that piece of equipment. So why is it worth it? Consider what's at stake.
Yeah.
This is our family business. These communications are how we move forward in our family business. And that is how our family makes its way in the world. The quality of our communication, it's worth it because it is the engine for all of that forward movement.
So if I hear you correctly, Jonathan?
Yes, if you hear me correctly, Donnel.
Effective communication is the foundation for all the other work that gets done.
You have heard me correctly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.